Recalculating Route, a show about taking a new direction with your life. Here's your host, Christy Atwood.
Yes, today is going to be a very special episode of Recalculating Route that we think is going to really help a lot of people, and that's what we want to do. So, welcome to Recalculating Route. I'm Christy Atwood, and my co-host today, y'all want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Nathan Barnaba.
Hi, I'm Kymberlie Broussard.
We did that just off the cuff. We are so good, y'all. Today is really fun for us because what we're talking about is mindfulness. And this was Kim's idea because she was talking about, what a great tool it can be to overcome anxiety and worry. And yet we forget that such a simple tool is there for us to use at any time. And so we wanted to focus on mindfulness and some of the different ways that we use and some of the ideas. And of course, we leave it open to y'all. I'm going to remind y'all that you can put this into the chat and we will share it. So anything that you have ideas about that would help us, please be willing to share those. Just post those on Facebook. Kymberlie, I think you had a question you wanted to start things out with to ask Nathan.
I sure did. Okay, Nathan, I know, and for those of you that are out there, in case you didn't know, Nathan is the mindfulness guru, okay? So, Nathan, tell me a little bit about why practicing mindfulness is important.
Well, for me, practicing mindfulness, it's being self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a feeling person, like how people talk about trusting your instincts and your gut feeling. Like my feelings are important to me. So being mindful of my feelings and kind of going to where those feelings stem from helped me tremendously. It's like knowing exactly how to address that feeling and making that link to, okay, I feel this way because of this. Like I know when I'm bothered, I know when I'm nervous, it helps make that connection.
So it's kind of being aware of your feelings and kind of identifying triggers.
Yeah. When you're good at it, like when you start getting good at it, like practice, you start to notice your triggers. And you can also, like, let's say you're mad about something, you can kind of push it out of your mind so you aren't mad as long as you are.
Oh, well, then I need that. I hope that you have some tips and tricks for me, because who can stay long for a long period? Who can stay mad for long periods of time? It's me.
That's really a great point, though, because, if we don't take the time and become aware of our feelings, there's no way we could start managing them. And
yeah.
I think that's probably one of the things that I needed the most with the mindfulness, because if left to my own devices, this little monkey mind goes all over the place and has all these terrible, worst case scenarios and all this other stuff. And I haven't heard from so-and-so in so long. They must be mad at me. It was automatically negative stuff. Y'all find yourselves in some of those situations? Do you find that happening?
Oh, I definitely find myself in those scenarios. I create scenarios in my head sometimes that don't even exist.
Oh, yeah.
And and that's why I love the mindfulness topic so much, is because I don't find that I have control over my emotions. I mean, I know I have control over it, but I guess I don't manage it properly. I let those emotions build up and consume me, and it's tough for me. And I think that's when it becomes the form of anxiety. And especially those fake scenarios of things that could happen that probably won't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Nathan, you had the same thing, huh? I mean,
yeah, and it goes back to relation, like the Brene Brown thing. How she says the story I'm telling myself, because we make scenarios up in our head all the time. If we don't have the answers, we'll make it worse than what it is.
Why do we do that? Why? That makes me crazy. It's like you're sitting there making it horrible, and it doesn't have to be. It's not going to happen, chances are. And even if it did, it's not going to be as horrible as you probably made it out to be. So our whole focus today is trying to share some ideas about ways that people can get back into the present moment. Kim, I love what you said about the difference between worry and what was it?
Anxiety
Depression?
and depression. It
Uh-huh.
said that depression is thinking about the past and worrying about the past, and anxiety is worrying about the future. And so it's all about trying to stay in the present, trying to ground yourself in the present.
That
Now,
is the best description.
best description. And I had an aha moment when I saw it. And so I'm like, okay, well, how do you stay in the present? And I think that's how we got to talking about mindfulness, is using some of those strategies to help you get grounded, identify why you're feeling that way, and say, hey, this scenario is not likely gonna happen, and trying to correct that.
I think that's what we're all trying to work towards, is just, be realistic. And I know somebody, I thought this person was so cool. They would actually schedule their worry. They would say, okay, I'm not going to worry about it now. 2:00 on Friday was his worry time. At either 2:00, I'll get to it on Friday. I'll worry about it then. And by that time, most of the stuff had either happened or not happened, and he didn't have to think about it. I was like, I need to schedule my worrying.
So was it like from 2 to 3, or was 2 on?
No, it was a specific period of time. He had to get through it and be done. I don't remember exactly how long, but I just thought that was kind of a cool idea.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I think it's kind of cool for him to be able to turn it off, because I'm like, okay, my alarm goes off. Oh, okay, it's time to stop worrying. All right, everybody.
Yeah, because we could get in that spiral and it's over. Rest of the night, there's the wine, and I'm going, oh, it's awful, terrible. So we do have to be able to turn it off at times. So mindfulness can help us do that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to go around and everybody give me one thing that you do right now that helps you achieve mindfulness and to be in the present moment. I'm going to start with Nathan, since he's our guru on this.
Yep.
So Nathan, how about it? What is one thing you do that helps you stop it down and be in the present moment?
Meditate. I start my day off meditating, but whenever I feel myself being flustered about something or annoyed, I take like 5 minutes and just focusing on my breathing. And I notice that my mind, I tell myself like, hey, it's out of my mind. Like once I start breathing and things. And also people think that meditating is just sitting down and being quiet, but you can walk to meditate, you can jog, whatever it is to clear your mind. Use that as your tool, because meditation, it's all about concentration. So you're switching your mind from a subject to whatever you're doing, whatever task you're doing. That's how you're living in the moment. Like you're doing that, making that push.
How do you do it? How do you get your mind back? Because when you start sitting there, all of a sudden it's like, I hear a dog outside. Oh my gosh, is that a cat out there? Am I going to have to go save some animal out there? That's where my mind is going. How do you keep from going off the side there?
I focus. I play meditation music. On Spotify, there's a playlist on meditation, and I tune myself out. Or if I feel like my mind is too busy, I'll start focusing on my breath. So in and out, like every time I breathe, those are the only things that go through my mind. If I think of something else, I'll switch back to in and out, and that works.
That's cool.
I like that. I think I tried meditation one time, but didn't you have to wake me up, Nathan, because I was snoring?
Yeah, you did fall asleep.
I was snoring, Christy, and he had to wake me up.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's our Kymberlie. But I love meditation, but I do have trouble, slowing down my mind. I like the idea of focusing on the breathing. I love the idea of music. I do listen to a lot of different kinds of stuff like that. So maybe that would be what I need to do for my meditation time.
It helps.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Focusing on that, focusing on breathing.
Do you
have to breathe a certain way?
No, there's a few guided meditations. Like if you want to start with that, it's the app is Balance, and they teach you how to breathe. Also, like it walks you through it. But honestly, I just breathe like normal. And if I'm really angry, I'll do the 4-for-4 and focus on it that way.
Okay, so that's the one where you breathe in for 4, hold
Breathe
it for
in.
4,
Yeah.
out for 4, hold it for 4.
Oh, I
You
was
do
like, wait.
box breathing. I heard
Not
it called
Wendy's.
before.
Yeah, I was like, isn't that a Wendy's special? You get the 4 for 4?
Oh,
Okay.
Great,
gotcha.
she's gone to supper. Okay. Okay. So, and seems like counting would also keep you from going to those other thoughts.
Mhm.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, do you have a special setup, a place that you do it? Because I know a lot of people have this special meditation spot and a pillow and all that kind of stuff. And, that's really neat.
Not really. I do it in this room in the corner. So like I just turn off all the lights and sit down, and I also have like one of those like masks, those face. So if it's too bright or something, I can't concentrate, I'll put that on.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I like that. Okay, this is cool. Getting some ideas here. All right. Thank you, Nathan. All right, let me throw it over to Kymberlie. Kymberlie, give us some ideas. What is something that you do that helps you be in the moment?
See, I didn't know this until Nathan said, but walking, I didn't know that was a form of meditation.
That's right. You walk all the time.
Mm-hmm. I try and walk at least 2 miles, and I'll walk, and I try to do it without music because I like the sound of nature. We live next to wilderness, so there's a lot of sounds. You can hear birds and owls, dogs. You hear it all.
Nice.
So I try to listen and I know this sounds cliche, but become one with nature while I'm walking,
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like
But
that.
I never thought of it as meditation. I just thought of it as exercise.
It's funny, that goes with one of like the mindfulness exercises that I have been looking at. One of them is talking about like experiencing all the senses, and walking would be perfect for that. Because like one of the things is name 5 sounds you hear. And the funny thing is the first thing that you hear is, okay, just the very obvious things around you. And then you think, oh, well, it's really quiet here. But then when you stop and listen even closer, it's like, there's a hum off in the distance there, or there's something. And so that would kind of go well with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So you're doing it naturally without even realizing that it was a mindfulness exercise.
Right. I'm pretty proud of myself now.
Look at you.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. Do the pat on the back. There you go. Oh, wait, that's tapping. That's the other thing that I discovered this past week.
Oh.
Yes. That's okay. EFT tapping. Look it up because I don't do it right. But I saw this lady's video on it, and it was so cool. And I loved it because you add it to wording that's like positive wording. Even though I may be going through a rough patch right now, I know, blah, blah. You create your own affirmation to go with it. And then you do the little tapping thing. And it's like you're tapping here and you tap here. Oh, wait, no, I take it back. Sides, here, the collarbone, and then on your back, and then your head. And it's like while you're doing it, you're doing that breathing, that, the box breathing, like, and you're doing the affirmation in your mind. And it's kind of cool because you're doing all that stuff and you don't have time to be stressed anymore. It kind of calms you down. And I like it. I'm not doing it right. I know that. But the fact that I'm concentrating on something like that is keeping me from worrying. So that's a positive.
Yeah, that is.
So you do it for a certain amount of time, you said?
Yeah,
Chris?
you do it for like so many breaths, and all that. There's a million videos I found out, because when I saw this first thing on it, I went online and went, I just put in, tapping, and wham, it was all kinds of search results on it. So you can see how to do it by just Googling it.
I'll try
I'm
that.
definitely gonna have to Google it, but I feel like I'm gonna have to do it in the comfort of my own home, because if I'm at work and I start tapping, they might be like, "What's going on?"
I think Kim has fleas. I still can't do the one on the back. I guess I got to lose some more weight before I can do that one. Okay.
That's
I was
awesome.
embarrassed myself. Okay, we got one round. Y'all got more. I know you got more. I know one that we all share is journaling, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say share. I think you introduced that to me, Christy, and I'm super duper excited of trying it.
It's a blessing. If I don't do my morning pages, you can tell the difference in my mood during the day. I write 3 pages every morning. I clear my mind out. All those dreams that I had, all that stuff that from yesterday that just hung over till today, the things I'm worrying about, I just throw them on paper, and just keep writing until I get everything out of my system. And it's amazing what that can do for you.
It is.
I'm sure it feels like a weight being lifted on your shoulder, because it's kind of like venting, but instead of verbally saying it, you're getting it out on paper.
And then if you added what Nathan does at night, don't you do the gratefulness?
Yeah, and I also so the book, not The Secret, I forgot what it's called, by Rhonda Byrne, one of those books.
Oh, that is The Secret, right?
And well, she did like another one.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like along the same lines of it, but she introduces the topic of a gratitude rock. And basically you carry that rock with you. And like, okay, so like I leave it right next to the nightstand. So whenever I go to sleep, I see it and I grab the rock and I think about the most positive thing that happened that day. And it really does something. Like, I can't explain the feeling, but like whenever you think about it, you're holding the rock, it's like your lucky rock. And I built a relationship with my rock. I remember I went to a job interview and I had the rock in my pocket, and the lady was like, "You got a rock in your pocket?" And I was like, I said, "Please don't judge me, but it's my good luck rock." And it really does something to you. It doesn't have to be a rock. It could be anything. But if you use something to remind you of, just to be grateful or to accept things. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know anybody else did that. I carry this with me all the time. It's a little stone out of one of those things, those bags that you get. But I carry this with me. And I do the same thing. Yeah. It's like it's my last thing at night. I put it on top of my journal and I have it with me all the time. That is so funny. I had no idea that it was a thing.
Yeah, it is.
That's so cool. Okay.
That's
so,
pretty neat.
And then you do the things that you're thankful for, right?
The things I'm grateful for. 10 things that I'm grateful for. And then I read it and I make sure I say thank you 3 times. I think of like thank you as like a setting, like low, medium, and high. So the first thank you is low, medium, second, and then the third is like thank you. Like it amplifies the thankfulness.
That is so cool. Yeah. What a great thing to have in your mind right before you go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. It's called The Magic. That's what the
Magic.
book is called.
Okay.
Yeah, Rhonda Byrne.
Oh, cool. Okay, now I got another one on my list. Okay. Good. Okay. And Kim, you're going to be doing some of that too, huh? Some more.
I'm definitely going to start the journaling piece, and I love the gratitude, Nathan. I'm going to start that as well. So I can't wait to go out. But in order for me to start, I have to have a fancy journal. So I can't wait to go out and buy my fancy journal so that I can do it. So Christy, so just so everybody understands, the first thing when you wake up, you grab your journal and you just start jotting down things that are going through your head at the present moment.
You can go get your cup of coffee if you want to, but nothing else. You do it first thing before that fog has totally lifted. Because that fog is still all those bad dreams you had or all the things that you've been thinking about those last few minutes before you woke up. Those are the ones you want to get out of there. Because you know how those could affect you for the rest of the day. You think you're depressed and you have nothing to be depressed about. It is just the hangover from that dream. Yeah. And I do find that it helps me a whole lot. I actually learned that about morning pages from a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And it's a book to try to get you off of being like, writer's block or anything like that. And it's so funny. Every time I've tried reading it, I've gotten so excited about it again. I've gone away and started writing again, and I've never finished the darn book, but I've recommended it to everybody in the world. I have no idea what's past chapter 3. I bet it's really good.
Okay. All right. And so once you're finished with the pages, then you can start your day, and you do that every morning.
Every morning.
Do you have to go back and read it, or once you write it down, that's it? You flip to the next page and you keep going.
You don't have to, but you know what I do when I get to the end of a journal? I'll go back through it and I'll end up highlighting themes that I see, something I complain about a whole bunch of times. And I'm like, oh, there's something I could do something about. Because they come back up over and over again. And I'll also, I put stars by things that I like that might be something I'm going to use in some writing. Because usually something will come out that's kind of creative. And I think, oh, I'll take that one and go put it somewhere. So I gather all the stuff out of it that I want. And then I usually close it and probably don't look at it again because I got boxes of those suckers.
I like that. I like going back to reading. I never thought of that. I'm going to try that.
It's real interesting to see the themes that go through your life and to see it reminds you of the things that bring you joy too. Because it's like you can
Mhm.
tell the difference in the pages when you're talking about certain things. So yeah, I recommend it. What else do we have?
I do have another question for Nathan.
Oh, good.
Like the gratitude journal, you
Mhm.
said that you say thank you 3 times.
Mhm.
Is it like you say the 3 thank yous in the beginning? Does it matter where the 3 thank yous go?
Well, I start writing. I'm like, I am grateful for this day, or like I write my list first of 10 things, and then after I write my list, I go through each one and read it individually. And after I read one, I'll say thank you 3 times. So as I get to 10,
Wow.
all 10 have their own separate reflection pieces.
Wow.
Mm,
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I'm trying that one tonight. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
yeah. I'm getting some good stuff. I'm
This is
excited.
good. This
I'm
is
excited about this.
Kim, do you have another one that you want to share yet? Or have you thought of something else yet?
Well, I'm mindfulness is my area of enrichment. So the only thing that I've been trying to do is the exercise. The meditation I always found it was with what you said, Christy, in regards to I can't get my mind to sit still. My mind will not sit still. And that little voice, I know I sound weird, but that little voice, especially if I'm trying to be, my little voice starts talking to me. What are you doing? Why is it so quiet? And I just cannot silence her. She's just there. So I think that the journaling will help because whatever my little voice is saying, I can just write it out. You know what I mean? I don't have to shut her up. She doesn't like to be silenced. So I can just let her talk freely and I can just write down whatever she's saying. And I think it's nice to be reflective and going back and seeing, what else she says. But I do want to practice the breathing. That 4 for 4.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'll be able to silence my brain, but maybe if I try to focus on that breathing, that'll help. Only because, I'm going to be vulnerable. I do suffer from anxiety, and I sometimes I have it so bad that I feel my chest get tight. So I think by taking a step back and focusing on that breathing, it'll help me transfer my brain from whatever's giving me anxiety to my breathing.
That
You know
sounds
what
like
I
a
mean?
great idea.
Yeah.
And then I'll try not to fall asleep and snore.
But hey, if you fall asleep, it means you calm down. So either way, it's a win-win,
that's true.
right?
So I think I'm gonna try that 4 for 4, and maybe filling it in with that music, because maybe that might
I like that.
drown out that
It
voice.
helps.
There is some amazing meditation type music online. I mean, and yet I'd like to do some of those on the, like Spotify and stuff like that. I need to check some of those. I also just use stuff on YouTube because there's some incredible ones. And some really nice meditation, like those sleep stories and things like that are so nice at night to talk you to sleep. Those are very pleasant to me. So
I agree.
What I have found is, especially, when we talked about creating those scenarios in our heads, or even create, like you, Christy, when you said that, you start thinking that someone's upset with you and they're really not upset with you. And, I had a friend who would text me when I would make up those scenarios in my head to take a step back and ask myself, or say to myself, this could happen, but it's highly unlikely that it will.
good.
And I try to tell myself that, hey, she could be mad, but it's highly unlikely, especially since you never did anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's good.
I like
I
that.
mean, recognizing and thinking through it like that, and even thinking through the worst case scenario. Sometimes, I used to do projects where I'd get everybody together and we'd say, okay, how can we mess this up? And it'd be like, okay, we could, like the customer service project, we'd be saying, okay, we can really make our customers angry, and they said, okay, and then we'd lose all our customers. Okay, yeah, okay, we lost all our customers. What happens? Then we lose our jobs. Okay. So by the time we got through, we were all down by the interstate with a cardboard sign. And we said, I don't think it's going to get to that point. So it was okay to pull back a little bit,
Yeah.
but just taking it through how can we mess this up? And it made me laugh at a time when I would worry about something and make me realize that chances are we're not going to mess it up that bad. I haven't had to use the cardboard sign yet, but life's still early. Okay. So, mindfulness eating. Either one of y'all do anything with that?
Mindfulness what?
Mindfulness eating. It's such a good idea. And I'm trying right now to start working on that because I basically inhale meals. I don't even taste them. I'm just in a hurry, eat, get back to stuff. So mindfulness eating is where you actually sit there and you concentrate on every bite. You look at it, you notice the colors, you notice the textures, put it in your mouth, you take the time to notice it, and you fully chew it, which that's a whole new concept for me. You actually chew the doggone thing. But I mean, you really are mindful. Have you ever taken the last bite of your dessert and said, oh God, I didn't even notice I was eating that. It's like
yes.
And so actually sitting there and being totally mindful while you're eating, no television, nothing else, just you and the meal. And it's actually, I do it some and I'm trying to get better at it, but it's a good feeing.
I would say my first bite, I have a mindful bite. Okay. My first bite, I'm chewing it, I'm tasting it, trying to see all of the spices, everything in there. And then my brain is like, man, this is good. And I'm like, yes, it is. That's me. That's it. You get one mindfulness bite and then I scarf the rest down.
Great, start there. Okay, we'll have a mindfulness bite. I like that. That'll work.
You know what's interesting though? Nathan, do you remember? And I told you he's a mindfulness everything. I know that he was being mindful. Do you remember when you talked about being mindful and listening to your body when it's ready to eat or when you're hungry, listening to your body and your body telling you when it's time to eat?
Yeah. So so a lot of times, like, just because sometimes, especially me when I was at the office, it's like I would eat just because it was lunchtime. And instead of sometimes I wouldn't be actually hungry until after work or before that. And what I realized was, it's okay not to listen to your body, know when your body needs fuel, and to distinguish between you being not greedy, but just being greedy. And then if whenever you really need it. And it really did, it helped to think of it like that.
I like that.
Your body's going to let you know when it's time. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of saying, oh, it is 11:30. It is time for me to go to lunch. If you're not hungry, why are you doing that? I mean, just because it's the set time? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was so fascinating because to me, he was in tune with his body.
Yeah.
He was listening and he was listening to his body, because I think our bodies speak to us. I just don't think that we're mindful enough to listen.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or you can have a body like mine, because I was like, I tried this, Nathan, and my body told me it was hungry at 8, at 11, at 1. My body was speaking to me every 3 hours.
It is kind of funny that our bodies are telling us stuff all the time that we're not listening to. I mean, you can tell when you're stressed. What are your triggers that show you're stressed? Mine is that shoulder thing. My arm, I'll end up like this before the day's over when I'm really stressed. What do you have triggers? Is your body speaking to you?
My body's actually speaking to me right now. It's right here. I start to get really tight right here, and that's my body's way of saying, "Hey, what's going on? Who stressed you? Why are you stressed? What's going on?"
I had a great opportunity to use the box breathing and direct it towards those spots. So sitting there and breathing into that area. Do you do that, Nathan?
No, well, whenever I feel tense or whatever, I notice I get tense, but also I get snappy.
Ooh.
And that's kind of when I'm like telling myself like, hey, what's going on. I learned from a friend. It's called shadow work. So basically going back to addressing those feelings that you feel. So let's say, for example, I hate being ignored. That's like my pet peeve. And going back to that feeling, it's because it's related to the middle child syndrome. Whenever you're growing, like going back and doing the work and finding out exactly what it is that bothers you. I highly recommend shadow work, by the way, but it's those types of things.
Making notes.
Right?
Excuse me. Go ahead. I'm writing it down.
It's anytime you have an issue with something, go back to try to find the start of it. You won't remember it all, but you'll remember a situation. And if it's something serious, you remember the situation, and it's a technique where you can go in and talk to your younger self about that situation. And it does inspire healing. I forgot what the practice is called, but I watched it on YouTube. And
Oh.
yeah. It was really interesting.
That's nice to think about, because I would like that, because I know half of the things that are messed up in us today are probably things that came from way back when. Yeah. And going back and finding where it started sounds like a really healthy, it's like you're doing your own therapy in a way.
Right?
Yeah. It's just like that. It's finding those triggers.
Cool. Okay, this is fun and interesting. Oh,
this is definitely some soul searching right there.
Let me see here. I was looking at, okay, I found a couple of sites, by the way, y'all, some really good ones. Mindful.org has some really good activities, like starting your day with a purpose, setting an intention for your day. I have a feeling Nathan already does that.
Of course.
But like when you get up, sit down on your bed, relax, take some deep breaths, and ask yourself, what is my intention for today? Like, what is the thing that I want to happen by the end of this day? What is the overall feeling that I want for this day? Like today I'm going to focus on being patient with the people that I come in contact with, or stuff like that. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And then throughout the day, checking in with yourself and saying, how am I doing with that intention?
I like that.
That's kind of neat. Yeah.
And also with like anxiety. So let's say you're doing a presentation or working on something that day, set your intentions for the day. So I know that, like, if I have a meeting with my supervisor on a project I'm working on, I will tell myself everything's going to go good. She's going to love it. And like, it makes you feel calmer, because, you're nervous about the presentation or the meeting. But then once you kind of calm yourself down, saying it's going to go well, it's like, I feel like it actually goes well, because I'm calm and I told my story about it. Like in your mind, you're telling yourself that everything's going to be okay.
Is that kind of like visualization? They talk about athletes do a lot of visualization, seeing themselves doing stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's cool.
I told you he was the guru.
He's really good at this stuff, isn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I learned this because there's just people in my life who are mindful. I'm married to one of the most mindful people. My supervisor is mindful. Like, I'm just around people who share their tips with me.
That is so cool to have a supportive, group around you like that. You can't help but feel better. So that's nice. Wow. This is cool stuff. Okay. Let's see here. I was going to check. There were a couple of other sites that I found. Plumvillage.org. Yes, like the fruit. Plumvillage.org had a list of mindfulness apps that they had a listing of. That was kind of interesting. And there are whole bunches of those suckers. And then, this is one that we've all paid attention to before, Greater Good at Berkeley University.
Yeah.
Y'all, if you've never looked at this, it's free. It's like go to greatergood.berkeley.edu, and they have the best list of resources, everything from activities to articles to, even little assessments that you can do to see how you are at things like, emotional intelligence or what personality, things like that. They have just so many resources on there. And I love their happiness calendar with ideas of things to do every day during the month. So that is definitely one you want to check out. I think, Nathan, you even took a class from them, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't finish it, but I did take it, and it was interesting, the science behind happiness. And I really enjoyed it. It's just time started eating me up, so I had to
Yeah.
stop. But it's very interesting. I highly recommend it.
But hey, just getting started on something like that puts you on that plane that's a better place. They have an article on there right now I'm looking at called 6 Tips to Avoid Being Overwhelmed by the News. Now, this is what we talked about.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, send me that article, Christy. I'm gonna have to read it, because I do feel that social media and the news can affect your mindfulness. It could put you in a negative headspace if you let it. And so, when you were reading about those articles, in my mind, I was thinking, how cool is that we have our tips at so many resources. I mean, if you think back, so when I was young, if I needed a resource, I'd have to go to the card catalog, have to go to the library, go to the card catalog to find a book. And now we can look it up on our phones. They have so many free resources out there that can help you if you're experiencing any type of anxiety, if you want to practice mindfulness, if you want to be live in the present. There's so many resources out there.
That is so true. And I love that. And I love the fact that things like this make us realize that a lot of people are stressed by the same things we are. We are not alone. I mean, I think a lot of us are probably stressed by the news. And why is it that it's like the last thing on TV right before you go to bed? It's right at bedtime. It's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Do not watch the news before you go to sleep, because I guarantee you that carries over into your mood in your sleep,
And the first thing that plays when you wake up.
Yes. Yes. Don't do it. Turn it off.
Don't.
I don't even watch news anymore. I'm so sorry, because that's my background. I did broadcast journalism. Hey, what can I say? I'm sorry. But really, the news now, what I have are a couple of newsletters I get that give me the highlights so that I know what's going on, but it has none of the emotion, and it has no pictures, nothing like that. It just tells me, here are the 5 top things that happened. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I do not watch the news anymore. I don't watch sad stuff right before bedtime. It has to be comedy before I go to sleep. Things like that, trying to feed the spirit the right stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to watch something comedic before I go to bed, because I find that it lifts my spirits. And I love to laugh. To me, that is the best medicine. I can laugh all day long.
It's so good for you. Releases those endorphins just like your walking does.
Yep.
So why not? If you walked and laughed at the same time, Lord, you'd be unstoppable, girl.
Right.
I don't want anyone to report me and to put me in the back of a squad car. So
yeah, there probably would be an intervention involved there. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Let's see. Can you think of anything else that might be useful stuff? Let me see. I didn't ask people. Okay, no, we don't have any comments on Facebook right now. That's okay, because they can look at some of this stuff later and see what we have here. But Mindful, Plum Village. There are a whole bunch of different kinds of apps for mindfulness. So that's always really a great place to start. Cool thing about that is you use one for a while, and then if you're like me and have a short attention span, then you want to change to a different one. That's okay, as long as we're still on that positive roll. That's good enough. Do what works for you.
And it's also important for them to remember that, let's just say you can't get to your phone, that you always have the ones that you can do immediately in your back pocket, like the 4 with the breathing that we talked about, or you can, if you don't have your journal right then and there, or your safety rock, you can carry a rock like that. It's important for you to have those immediate remedies right then and there, because, especially with me, once I start with anxiety, if I let it linger, it gets worse. So, just try to stop it when you can, and with some of those techniques. I know I will.
Cool. One other thing I'd suggest is get a book that makes you happy. I don't care if it's a joke book. I don't care if it's something on mindfulness or something positive, or maybe it's just motivational quotes. I don't care. Something like that to have next to your bed. It's just a nice thing at night. If you can't sleep or something, open it up and read a couple of things that make you feel better. And so when you go back to sleep, you got a positive feel to yourself. Any other tips you'd have, Nathan? Any other tips you could think of?
No. One thing, it's maybe not relatable, but vision board. I look at my vision board before bed, and I'm more mindful of progress or career goals or things like that. And I also look at it and things that came true. I'm grateful for them. Like I'm thankful that it came true and it happened.
I gotta hang around this guy more.
I know on that vision board he had pictures of 2 great friends, and I know you put me and Christy's name right on those.
Yeah.
Right.
Getting a little deep in here, isn't it? Okay, I'm just saying. Yeah, but you know, we will beat ourselves up when we don't succeed at something, and yet we don't give ourselves enough credit. What you're talking about with taking the vision board and looking at it and saying, you know, I took a step towards this one today. You know, just recognizing that. Wow, what a great way to kind of remind yourself that you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You may not always feel like it, but you're doing okay. Just stay with it and give yourself credit once in a while.
I love that, Chrissy. The fact that you said celebrating the steps. You know, we always celebrate the end goal when we get to that goal, but we don't celebrate the steps. Yeah. To me, the hardest step is starting.
God, yes.
The hardest step is starting. So if you took just one step, I'm so proud of you guys. And because that's the hardest part.
That is so true. Gosh, you know, you're thinking about, I might go back to school. Okay, get the catalog. That's a step right there. Get the catalog and look at it.
That's a step. That's true.
So
that's a step.
Okay. Wow, y'all were fun. Okay. This was excellent. I hope it helped some other people as much as it helped me, because this was just what I needed today, y'all. Thank you for being a part of this.
Oh, thank you for having us. We always enjoy it. It's always a pleasure to be on here.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I know somebody out there got something good out of this. And probably, Nathan, the next time we go walking, more people will be walking around and we'll hear rocks in their pockets. So I just think, you know, that's going to be good. Thank y'all so much for being a part of the show. We thank our folks who are watching, whether they're watching live on Facebook or whether they watch on YouTube. Thanks for being a part of this, and we hope that we've helped you a little bit. Thank y'all, and we'll see you next week on Recalculating Route. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Recalculating Route. Join us next Wednesday evening at 6 Central